If this story grips you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay until the end, because humanity's finest hour didn't come from war. It came from a cure no one else survived. No one panicked when the message arrived. That should have been the first warning. The signal cut through every frequency at once. Radio, satellite, military bands, even emergency channels meant for asteroid impacts. A single translation package auto-installed itself into global networks, clean and polite, like a courteous knock on the door. The Galactic Council greets you. Emergent species of Soul -3. We offer you a gift of mercy. People laughed at first. Memes spread within minutes. Late-night hosts joked about space taxes and alien customer service. Then the message continued. Your biological development has reached a terminal threshold. LEFT unchecked. Your species will cause regional instability within 200 cycles. Therefore, we have authorized a humane solution. That was when governments stopped smiling. Satellites detected it next, a faint haze drifting into the upper atmosphere, invisible to the naked eye, but unmistakable to spectrometers. Not radiation, not nanotech, not weapons. A biological payload. A plague. Doctors noticed the first symptoms before the news could catch up. Mild fever, dry cough, fatigue that felt wrong, not painful, not dramatic. Just a slow, creeping sense that the body was forgetting how to work. Within 48 hours, hospitals filled. Within 72, the Galactic Council sent the follow-up. The pathogen is called Capri-9. It is non-aggressive and painless. Within 6 to 8 rotations, humanity will cease. Suffering will be minimal. That was the moment fear turned into fury. Because humans don't react well to being politely exterminated. At first, it didn't make sense. Capri-9 didn't behave like any disease we knew. It didn't attack cells directly. It didn't replicate explosively. It didn't even spread that fast. Instead, it optimized. The pathogen rewrote metabolic pathways, reducing energy waste, suppressing immune overreactions, smoothing out inefficiencies. Body temperature dropped slightly. Heart rate stabilized. Patients reported feeling calm, too calm. Then came organ failure. Not sudden, but gradual, as if the body decided it no longer needed certain systems. Muscles weakened. Neural signals slowed. People didn't scream or convulse. They simply stopped. The aliens were right about one thing. It was merciful, which only made it worse. The Council explained their logic with chilling professionalism. Humanity was not being punished. We were being managed. We burned too much fuel, altered climates too fast, expanded without permission. Our emotional volatility made us statistically incompatible with long-term galactic stability. Capri-9 was not a weapon. It was a solution. And solutions, the Council insisted, did not require consent. But they underestimated something fundamental. They assumed we would try to destroy it. Every advanced species before us had. They bombed their skies, sterilized cities, burned themselves into extinction, trying to fight what couldn't be stopped. Humanity did something else. We studied it. In a reinforced lab, beneath what used to be Geneva, Dr. Amara Klein stared at the data until her eyes burned. Run it again, she said. The AI complied. Same result. Capri-9 wasn't killing people by force. It was helping them too much. It's reducing entropy, murmured Dr. Sato. Optimizing biological systems toward efficiency. Toward stillness, Amara corrected. Perfect equilibrium. No waste. No stress. No life someone whispered. Amara leaned back, pulse racing. This isn't a plague, she said slowly. It's a philosophy. The room went silent. The pathogen didn't want chaos. It wanted order. And that was the crack humanity slipped its fingers into. Someone in the back, a junior bioengineer who hadn't slept in 3 days, asked the question that changed everything. What if we interrupted? They all turned. Interrupt how? Sato asked. The engineer swallowed. Not kill it, not block it, just make it incomplete. Amara's breath caught. Capri 9 worked by pushing biological systems toward a single perfect state, a final, optimized endpoint. But what if that endpoint moved? What if the process never finished? They introduced noise, tiny inefficiencies, controlled mutations, feedback loops that forced the pathogen to keep adapting instead of concluding. The result was immediate. Patients stopped declining. Then they improved. Muscle regeneration accelerated. Immune systems became smarter, not stronger. Neural pathways repaired microdamage previously considered irreversible. Cancer cells optimized out of existence. A man paralyzed for 10 years stood up. A woman with terminal heart failure laughed as her monitors stabilized. Capri 9, disrupted but alive, became something else entirely. Not a killer. A cure. They bottled it, not out of greed, out of desperation. Earth was still dying. Millions already lost. Infrastructure shattered. Panic everywhere. They refined the modified pathogen, stabilized it, packaged it into controlled doses. The name stuck, almost accidentally. Chi-9. Human trials became global overnight. Humanity didn't just survive. It adapted. The Galactic Council noticed within a month. Their observation fleets detected something impossible. Human population decline reversed. Lifespan metrics rose. Disease mortality plummeted. Then came the transmission that shook the stars. Error. Target species remains functional. Requesting status update. Earth replied with a single data packet. Medical reports. Cure rates. Controlled distribution protocols. And a message. Thank you for the medicine. Silence followed. Then panic. Because Capri 9 had never behaved like this anywhere else. No species had survived exposure long enough to modify it. No species had dared. And worst of all, the cure worked on non-humans too. Black market transmissions leaked within weeks. Alien traders whispered about a miracle therapy circulating in hidden channels. A cure that repaired cellular decay, extended lifespan, stabilized immune collapse. A cure the Council had banned outright. A cure only humans could produce. Because the modified strain required human biochemistry as its base. Earth didn't advertise, didn't threaten, didn't boast. We just opened a medical export division. By the time the Council convened an emergency session, it was already too late. Entire alien populations were dependent on Chi-9, and humanity? Humanity held the patent. If you're still here, Part 2 is where everything changes, because that's when the Galactic Council realizes they didn't just fail to kill us. If you're still here, don't blink, because this is the part where the galaxy learns a brutal lesson. Never give humans a problem that can be monetized. And if you're enjoying this story, make sure you're subscribed, because Part 3 is where humanity stops asking for permission and starts setting prices. The Galactic Council did not panic easily. It governed over 12,000 sentient species, had mediated wars that burned stars dry, and had erased civilizations so efficiently that no one remembered their names. But when the dependency reports arrived, panic did something rare. It spread upward. Entire systems were requesting emergency medical imports. Longevity indices were collapsing without canine supplementation. Degenerative diseases, once considered natural end-of-life conditions, surged back with vengeance. Species that lived calmly for 600 cycles were suddenly dying at 300. The cure had become a requirement, and only Earth had it. The Council's first response was diplomatic. It always was. A formal envoy arrived in Earth orbit, a massive crystalline construct broadcasting neutrality in every known spectrum. No weapons charged, no fleets in formation, just words. Humanity of soul -3. You are in possession of restricted biological material. Its distribution violates galactic stability protocols. Cease export immediately. Earth listened, then responded. Respectfully, the Secretary General said, eyes tired but steady. You labeled Kepri-9 a gift. The translator hesitated. A fractional delay that humans had learned meant confusion. The gift was misused. No, she replied. It was improved. The Council demanded full access to the modified strain. Humanity refused, not aggressively, not defiantly, just professionally. The patents were clear. The manufacturing process depended on human-compatible bioreactors, human neural oversight, and subtle biochemical variables no alien species could replicate without fatal instability. They tried anyway. 3 research stations self-sterilized after containment failures. 2 species went extinct, attempting to reverse-engineer K9 without understanding the adaptive noise humans had introduced. The cure was simple. The process was not. That was when the Council changed tactics, sanctions, trade embargoes, navigation restrictions. Earth shrugged. We had been sanctioned before by our own species. We adapted faster than anyone expected. Within weeks, human-built jump gates rerouted trade through independent systems. Black markets flourished. Pirate syndicates became licensed distributors overnight. Human medical ships started appearing in places the Council had ignored for centuries. Not war zones, hospice worlds, dying civilizations. We didn't ask for loyalty. We asked for payment. And payment didn't always mean money. Some paid in rare isotopes, some in star charts, some in silence. Entire species signed medical exclusivity contracts that quietly removed them from Council voting blocks. No speeches, no threats, just invoices. Inside the Council chambers, arguments turned violent. You cannot allow this, screamed a representative of the Varel Compact, their fronds twitching erratically. They control our lifespans. They already did, replied another delegate bitterly. We just never noticed. The truth settled like frost. Kepri-9 had never been a mercy. It had been a leash. And humans had picked it up and turned it into a service. Earth didn't flood the market. We rationed, carefully, strategically, enough to heal. Not enough to make ourselves irrelevant. Every shipment included update locks, genetic drift safeguards, dependency stabilizers keyed to Earth origin signals. Not malicious, just cautious. After all, we had learned from the best. A covert Council operation attempted to seize a production facility in the Kuiper Belt. They underestimated human security. Not soldiers, accountants, lawyers, trade enforcement A's. By the time the boarding party breached the outer hull, their own life support systems flagged a problem. Canine dependency withdrawal, muscle failure, neural lag, organ degradation. They died peacefully. Human medics recorded everything, then sent the footage back to the council with condolences. The message was clear. You can kill humans. You can't replace us. Something else began happening, something no one predicted. Humanity didn't just heal. We changed. Extended lifespans altered psychology. Planning horizons stretched from decades to centuries. Wars seemed inefficient. Reckless consumption. Childish. The cure didn't make us stronger. It made us patient. And patience, in the galaxy, was power. Children born after K9 showed subtle enhancements. Faster recovery. Adaptive immunity. Neural plasticity that baffled neuroscientists. Not super soldiers. Survivors. Evolution accelerated, guided, but not forced. For the first time, humanity wasn't racing extinction. We were choosing our future. The council convened an emergency session, a final one. They proposed regulation, joint oversight, shared ownership. Humanity listened, then asked one question. Where were these ethics? Earth's ambassador asked softly. When you sent the plague, no one answered. That silence cost them everything. One by one, council-aligned species defected. Not in rebellion, in paperwork. Medical treaties replaced political ones. Health guarantees mattered more than ancient alliances. The council still existed, but it was hollow. A body without patience. And then the final transmission arrived. Not from the council, from beyond it. An ancient civilization, one that had watched quietly as younger species rose and fell, finally spoke. We have observed your solution. We request exclusive negotiation. Earth replied with a smile the galaxy couldn't see. Of course, we said. Let's discuss terms. Because humanity had realized something terrifyingly simple. We didn't need fleets. We didn't need weapons. We controlled time itself. And everyone else was running out. If you think this ends with peace, think again. Because part 3 is where humanity decides what kind of galaxy deserves to live. If you're still here, good. Because this is where the galaxy finally understands the truth. Humanity was never fighting for survival. We were negotiating the terms of existence. And before this ends, decide one thing for yourself. Would you have done any different? The ancient civilization called itself the Continuum. They had no empire, no fleets, no wars on record. They had simply lasted. For millions of cycles, they watched younger species rise, fracture, stabilize, and fade. They cataloged extinction events the way librarians tracked overdue books. And now, for the first time, they had spoken. Not to the Galactic Council. To Earth. The meeting did not take place in orbit or neutral space. The Continuum insisted on Earth soil. Specifically, a reclaimed valley where cities once stood, now green, quiet, and deliberately unremarkable. They arrived without spectacle. No ships pierced the sky. Reality folded, and they were there. Tall, asymmetrical, gently luminous, like living probability distributions trying to wear bodies. Their leader did not bow, but they inclined, a gesture of respect no one else had ever received. You altered the extinction curve, the Continuum said. Their voice did not vibrate air. It appeared directly in the mind, calm, observational. You repurposed a termination vector into a regenerative engine. The human delegation did not deny it. We fixed bad medicine, the Secretary General replied. You'd do the same. The Continuum paused. No, they said. We wouldn't. That was when humanity realized this wasn't praise. It was assessment. You now control the lifespan of 47% of known sapient life. The continuum continued. You have destabilized galactic power without deploying violence. You have rendered conquest obsolete. They turned their attention, all of it, toward the humans. Why? The answer came from an unexpected place. Dr. Amara Klein. Older now, steadier, still tired. Because you tried to kill us politely, she said. And we took that personally. The continuum observed her for a long moment, then asked the question no one else had dared. What will you do when they beg? Silence spread through the valley, because everyone knew what they meant. The Galactic Council, the same entity that had signed humanity's death warrant with calm efficiency, the same authority now watching its member species age, weaken, and defect. They already are, the Secretary General said quietly. The Council's final message arrived 3 days later. No demands, no threats, just surrender. We acknowledge strategic failure. We request medical access and amnesty. Humanity read it carefully, then waited, because patience now was our greatest advantage. The galaxy held its breath as Earth responded, not with fleets, not with sanctions, with a contract. The terms were simple. The Galactic Council would dissolve. All extinction-level interventions would be permanently banned. No species would be classified as statistically incompatible again. Humanity would oversee medical ethics across known space. And the final clause, the one that hurt the most, the cure would never be free. The Council hesitated. Billions of lives balanced on ink and silence. They tried to negotiate. Earth declined. We had learned something fundamental about the universe. Anything given freely could be weaponized. Anything earned was respected. The Council dissolved within a cycle, not in flames. In filings, archives closed, mandates voided, authority redistributed into something smaller, weaker, and profoundly human. A coalition of consent. Humanity did not lead it. We regulated it. And then came the moment no one expected. The continuum spoke again. You have passed the test, they said. Humanity turned. What test? Someone asked. The continuum shimmered, a gesture approximating something like amusement. The test of power without annihilation. They gestured outward, toward the stars. You could have ruled through dependency. We chose not to, Amara replied. You still do, the continuum said gently. You simply call it medicine. They were right. K9 never became a superweapon. It became infrastructure, a universal standard of care, priced, regulated, and deliberately limited. No immortality, no gods, just time. Enough time for civilizations to fix themselves, or fail honestly. Humanity never hid what we had done. History books recorded it plainly. The plague that made us doctors. Children learned it early, not as triumph, as warning. Because once, not long ago, someone decided humanity was a problem to be solved, and humanity solved the solution instead. Decades passed, then centuries. Earth changed. Not into a throne world, into a clinic. Ships arrived every day, wounded worlds, aging species, desperate leaders. They were treated. They paid. They left better than they arrived. And humanity? We watched. We guided. We remembered. Because the most dangerous species in the galaxy wasn't the strongest. It was the one that learned how to survive extinction, and then charged admission. If this story made you think, share it. If it unsettled you, good. And if you stayed till the end, you already know the truth. HFY isn't about domination. It's about what humans do when pushed too far and still choose restraint.